This is Courtney Starhart, and I'm here today to talk to you about a beautiful version of a well known character. A lot of the older versions of the stories that we've inherited are so much more interesting than the ones that we were passed down. One example is the fairy tales that we were handed down. The original Grimm's tales were so much more interesting and juicy. Perhaps not PG-13. The ancient version of the story of Lucifer, I think, is a fascinating story, and it's especially good for the Day of the Dead. It's a wonderful time to talk about these different concepts of these archetypal characters that are so important in understanding your place in reality and in life. A lot of these ancient teachings have been watered down so that the powerful meaning behind them, the real magic and the medicine, because remember, stories can be medicine. In fact, stories are the best kind of medicine. And we're coming up on storytelling time of year. In the winter, by the fireplace, Grandmother Spider begins to weave these webs, which are the tales that entertain children and adults alike in the wintertime. So, I'd like to talk to you today about the original story of Lucifer. And the story reminds me of something so important with plant medicine. Ayahuasca is something that will open doors for you into the spirit world, but you need to know what you want and where you're going in order to really take back your power. I'm going to check real quick on Facebook to make sure that we're live. I do believe that we are. Back your power. Excellent. It's a go. So let's talk about the ancient version of Lucifer. Okay. The old story that I was handed down from the mystery teachings of the Middle East said essentially that Lucifer was the brightest of angels, the most beautiful of angels in heaven, and perhaps Creator's favorite. I'm going to avoid using the word God because it's a very sacred concept, and I don't want to cheapen it by overusing it. Also, it's been misused in the past, so let's use the word creator for now. Lucifer, perhaps Creator's favorite of all of the angels in heaven, made a bet. Lucifer reminds me a lot of Lord Coyote in the Southwestern stories. Lord Coyote represents the wild card in the deck that sometimes shows up as the adversary, as Satan or Lucifer, and sometimes shows up as the wild card that helps mankind to win. In other words, this character represents our animal nature and our power, essentially. Hanuman, in many cultures as well, the monkey god, is another character that represents our animal nature. So, Lucifer, knowing so much about the frailties and the Achilles heel of mankind and the human aspect of us, said, Creator, God, Father in heaven, they'll forget about you. If you give them free will and you allow them to choose, they will forget about you. And apparently, Creator said, I'll take your bet, and said, they will not forget about me. I am source. I am omnipresent. I am omniscient. I am omnipowerful. And so Creator took the bet and allowed human beings to have free will. The story of Lucifer is important to us right now at this time of year because we're going into hibernation. We're going into essentially the underworld where we recreate ourselves. So the challenge was, God, give them their free will, and I bet you anything they'll forget about you. But what we simply forgot was the way to get home. So these times right now are important because we're walking ourselves back home to God. We are proving in these times that many of us remember that we're part of everything. We're part of source. We're part of the animal kingdom. We're part of the earth. We're part of the stars. We're part of the sun. Wow, we're part of something so vast. The antidote to this bet, the way that you can make yourself part of the winning team, so to speak. I mean, we'll all eventually go home to God. We'll all eventually remember who and what we truly are. But I want to introduce a character to you, Astarte. We're going to use this character to journey around the tree of consciousness, which I have right behind me. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But what I want to tell you is that the ancient shamanic traditions from around the world have the remedy to that Achilles heel that Lucifer knew that we human beings have. So, this right here is also another symbol that I like to use. This character is all of us. This is the fallen aspect of us, the aspect of our vast consciousness, right? Like Astarte, she is this entire consciousness here. This entire tree of life, all of creation, we're a part of that. But we forget oftentimes that we're a part of all of that. And the thing that keeps us trapped in the lower vibrational frequencies that makes Lucifer to win the bet against God is fear and anxiety. When we fall into the amygdala, the fight or flight, and we're triggered, then we see the world in a different way. We see the world in terms of competition, separation, dog eats dog, fight or flight. And when we're in that triggered state, then that animal body is not at its highest. So, what these retreats are about is us training you to use your best tools to walk yourself back to your higher consciousness, which is God. We're not separate from, we're a part of, we are connected to. And it's in our interconnection that we truly find our power. So I want to invite you to do training with us. It's not just about the medicine. You can click on the link if you want to know more about the retreat, but we're starting a series of courses, as I said, with these wonderful characters who are going to journey around the tree of life. I've started a series of illustrations that I'll be sharing with you, along with a lot of blog posts and little videos. We'll have a new platform that's much more interactive, and you can see what other people are doing in our community all over the world. The Church of the Natural Law has really grown a lot in the past few years into something different, something new level. What we're really here for is to teach you tools, right? Not one and done, not that the medicine is going to make those miracles for you. You're going to make the miracles for yourself. You're going to do your own push ups. You're going to do your own hard work. Kung Fu. Literally, this just means hard work. I love Kung Fu because I love hard work. It's what makes us stronger. I'm getting new muscles, as some of you know. I've gone back to studying martial arts, which I've studied all of my life. And this is where I've learned a lot of the tools and techniques. The systems around the world that have uninterrupted lineage, that go back in the mists of time, such as Kung Fu, such as my lineage of shamanism, such as many of these esoteric traditions, which employ this ancient knowledge, right? I'm going to be taking you around this map of the Tree of Life in kind of a gamified, fun quest version of things so that you can really choose your own adventure and learn the tools. So you're going to be cheering on this character, Astarte, right? Who is going to be helping us to walk our way back home to God, well, to Source, to Creator, to our full potential, which is so much faster. You see, here is this character, which I dreamed of one evening, right? And I woke up and I realized I fell at a certain point, or we all did, from the stars, from the starry heavens, right? She's there. She's looking at a very specific constellation, which in this case is the Pleiades. But people all over the planet have different stories about the star nations and how their technology was sprinkled like starseed all over the planet. And so, what we want to do is we want to help you to learn how to navigate your ship. Your body's a ship, like a sailing boat. One of the things I love about being here in Long Island is that I'm so close to the ocean. I'm so close to all of this navigation. And it really sparks a lot of ideas about how I can use these allegorical tools to share with you and teach you so that you can be the best version of yourself. So, if you had a ship and you were setting off on the ocean, if you were this maiden who was shipwrecked, what would you do? How you navigate to where you want to go? Um, in the dream time, of course, I was her and I had washed up on shore in a shipwreck after I had been sent off to get married. My dowry and I, in my wedding dress, washed up on the shore, and we washed up with the dowry so that we were able to go and start a new life. So for me, this represents the liberation of the divine feminine and the return of this spiritual knowledge. But you need a set of tools in order to navigate. So this is what we're doing with the Church of the Natural Law. It's not a religion. And there's no dogma. There is the natural law. There is the law that we can remember our right place in the universe. As God bet against Lucifer, we can remember who we are with certain hacks. They're kind of like biohacks for being human, and remembering that we're a part of everything, right? And that we have access to that consciousness. That's how we make God's team to win. That's how we make Source's team to win. And right now, there are these tremendous energies bathing our planet. There are unbelievably powerful energies coming in through our local sun in the form of coronal mass ejections. Okay, I know that sounds kind of kinky, you guys. I'm just kidding. Get your mind out of the gutter. Anyway, so what I'm saying is that these coronal mass ejections, which are coming from the higher planes, they're coming from a different level. If you understand anything about the precession of the equinoxes, then you know that we're at a certain time in the celestial clock where we have access to tremendous power and knowledge. The reason why my ancestors and my lineage kept careful track of this knowledge is that they knew that a certain time would arrive when we would be challenged. It's the quickening. This is a time when these higher energies are coming in. And those who are living in fear and anxiety, those who aren't living their highest purpose, those who aren't doing a spiritual practice, are really having a challenging time because everything right now is triggering that amygdala, our Achilles heel, pushing that button over and over again, and really dragging people's faces in the mud vibrationally, psychologically, emotionally. And it's our heart that actually helps us to create and navigate in this world that we live in physically and also on the other planes. So we're training you to have your own internal compass, right? The medicine wheel is a system where you're able to actually tease out and pull out these different aspects of yourself. East is your purpose here. East is the beginning. East is the land of the rising sun, and it's fire. It's your vision. It's your purpose. This is the reason why your happy ass landed here on earth, is because when you were a spirit, you thought to yourself, hey, this is going to be great. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I can prove God right. I can prove that I won't forget. But the bottom line is, every time that we get triggered and we're living in our amygdala in this fight or flight, dog eat dog mentality, we are drinking poison. When you are angry, when you are violent, when you project, and when you're toxic and you don't do your own spiritual work, the chances are that you are carrying this toxicity around. You may have a breach in your energy body as well. Our energy body is a bubble of light that reaches out about 6 feet wide, like the Da Vinci painting. Of course, most of us know that Leonardo was an esoteric initiate, and there are a lot of mysteries encoded in these ancient teachings and illustrations. The energy body should be at least this big. When we drop into the heart and all of our energetic chakras, these different keys, are lined up, they vibrate in such a way as to make this energy body very large and very strong. And when this capacity opens up, a lot more light can pour in. And when a lot more light pours in and we connect with others and we connect with purpose, then we become extremely powerful, which is exactly why I believe many people or many energies don't want us to connect and be in our power because we're a lot easier to manipulate. We're a lot easier to entice when we're not in our power. We are very magical creatures, and I'm looking forward to showing you how to light up your personal power and your magic. So, east, vision, purpose. South is your physical body, okay? That is the 3D, and that is the earthly plane. You can see it over here in this diagram. Let me move the globe now for a moment. At the bottom of this diagram here, you can see the earth, and that's what this is here, okay? Carbon-based existence. That's why the medicine wheel is omnipresent on this planet, and who knows, maybe on others. But in this dimension, we're divided into four quarters because we're carbon based, we're physical. And on the carbon molecule, there are four valence electrons that are very magnetic, and it tends to create certain kinds of structures. All of the amino acids and the basic building blocks of life are actually based on the carbon molecule because the way it forms into chains, blocks, squares, and other kinds of pixelations, which make beautiful crystals, and so on and so forth. You'll also see that pattern in many different art pieces from tribal and shamanic people. There's this affinity for certain geometries because certain geometries create certain harmonies. And these harmonies create the electromagnetic fields that generate a frequency or a tone which can connect with different levels of consciousness. We're dealing with different harmonics and octaves of energies and consciousness and light. And that is the inner planes. When your body, your energy body gets big and you drop into silence in your own mind and you're at peace and in harmony, which we often use sound to help generate a good field and to shift your energy. So, when you're in that space, you can open up. I call it finding the force because it's not a permanent condition. We have to constantly go back and refine this force, this mysterious place. When we balance out the four elements, we can start moving vertically up this tree. But the first place we typically move into is the dream time, the non ordinary reality, right? The unseen world covers a lot of territory. And when you start taking plant medicine, you'll quickly notice that the universe is vast and deep and wide. And mostly the portal to that space is through your own heart and through your own inner vision. But you'll never get into that place if you're stuck in fight or flight or the amygdala. This practice of breath work and muscle memory training and mental discipline is like dipping a piece of fabric into dye. You have to dip it over and over again for it to begin to hold the color. These traditional tapestries that we see were dyed in a traditional way. And so these threads would have been dipped repeatedly into whatever colors until you get the desired effect. Practice is not one and done. If you thought about going to the gym and you thought about doing your spiritual practice the same way that you're dedicated to doing your physical fitness, then the world would be a much better place. But because we don't know what we don't know, and we've been living in the Kali Yuga, you're going to need these tools. So ask yourself, who do you want to win the bet in your life? Source, creator, consciousness, or Lucifer? Do you want your animal nature to guide your life unconsciously, your programming, your genetics, whatever has happened to you, whatever trauma you carry? Or do you want to be your higher self? If you want to give thanks to God this Thanksgiving, make sure that you get the tools to fulfill your personal destiny.